Hey guys, and welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in this tutorial I will be starting up with the Meterpreter prompt. So I'll just go ahead and start my virtual machine. So in most of my tutorials I have actually gone through most of the commands in Meterpreter prompt, but I have not told you what exactly it is and how exactly it works. So in this tutorial we will be covering all most of the things about Meterpreter prompt, and after you have done this, then you will know exactly how it works and how you can go ahead and use that to go ahead and grab different sessions from your target's computer. Let's start it up. Okay. So before I proceed, let me give you a brief introduction. Meterpreter has been successfully integrated into Metasploit framework, that is MSF console. So it can be accessed through a number of different payloads. And Meterpreter has not only been implemented on Windows, but its principle and design are fully portable to a variety of operating systems, such as including Linux. So you can also go ahead and download the Metasploit if you don't have, let's say for example, for some reason you're not using Kali Linux for any random reason, you have Ubuntu, or let's say if you have Windows, for let's say, or even Mac, then we have Meterpreter prompt for that. For that you need to install the Metasploit, which I would be explaining in detail later on, but as of now you can just go over here and download that. For I believe Rapid7 are the people who are actually okay, never mind. So you can check it over here, as Metasploit Pro is also there for community, as well as the default one, that's the free one, and I believe we also have it for the Windows version. So let me check for which one it is exactly. Okay, I was redirected to the same page, never mind. Okay, so as you can see, we have it for the Linux for 64-bit, 32-bit, and for Windows that's only 64-bit. And I believe we don't have it for Mac. Yeah, we don't have it for Mac. Never mind, but we can still go ahead and start it in our virtual machine by using in any of the Unix or the Linux system. So coming back to our own screen, the first thing that I would be teaching you would be the Windows 32 bind Meterpreter. So this payload binds to a port on the target machine and waits for a connection. And after the connection is established, the Meterpreter server is uploaded and the existing connection is used for the Meterpreter communication channel. After that, we have Windows 32 reverse Meterpreter, and this payload connects back to the attacker on a given port. The connection is then used to upload the Meterpreter server, after which point it is used for the Meterpreter communication channel. So I'll just go over here and show you how exactly it looks like. You can start it through a lot of ways. I'm just giving an example. Let's say, for example, let me check social engineering and payload and listener. I just type any random IP address. I'm not actually going ahead and creating anything, so I'm just showing you exactly how it works like. So as I told you about Windows 32 bind Meterpreter, that is this shell over here, and it's also available for 64-bit as well. Then we have the reverse shell, that's these three, and then we have Windows 32 FC find receive ORD Meterpreter. So I don't know exactly where it is exactly. Maybe it will be there in some other payload, but Windows 32 find receive ORD Meterpreter is a payload that searches for a file descriptor that the exploit was triggered from and uses it to upload the Meterpreter server, after which point the connection is used for the Meterpreter communication channel. So this payload is particularly intriguing because it does not require that a new connection be opened and thus bypasses all firewall connections. Depending upon the exploit, any one of these payloads can be used. The most preferable payload is entirely dependent on both the exploit and the conditions under which the exploit is being performed, such as firewall restrictions or without firewall or otherwise, so it doesn't mind. So after a payload has been selected, the fun can begin. The first step is to start the Metasploit client interface and though Metasploit provides a number of interfaces including MSF Web, MSF Console, MSF CLI, We will be using MSF console for this illustration purpose. So I'll just go ahead and start the terminal, and I can just type MSF console. It will take quite a bit for it to start since it only has 1 GB of RAM. So we'll just quietly wait till it starts. Okay, I'll do one thing. By the time it starts, I'll go ahead and start my Windows 7. If for any other reason I needed to implement the payload on my Windows 7. This MSF console can take quite a bit of time to start if you are starting it for the first time, because it needs to go ahead and develop all the caches. Okay, perfect. Let's see if we don't have our payload that we created in our last tutorial. Never mind, we'll just create it again. So now we'll just have to wait till this command prompt starts. Okay, perfect. So this is the awesome Metasploit banner. I believe it looks like a cow or something. Never mind. So yes. So once at this prompt, the first thing that we need to do is pick up an exploit. So just for the sake of the demonstration, I'll be using a tester exploit that is going to be used, which is simply an exploit that is used against a daemon that executes whatever code is thrown at it. So I'll just go ahead and type use tester. I believe the T should be capital. I don't remember exactly the last time I did, so let me check. Okay, I believe the T should be capital. Okay, I believe that I have not yet imported this tester, but never mind. So if you have a module named as tester that you have actually went ahead and imported this, so just assume that tester is some kind of payload, and this is how you will go ahead and use it. I will be using an actual payload later on, or a module to go ahead and load, and I'll show you. So just for the time being, just assume that tester is some kind of a module. So after selecting the tester exploit, the next thing to do is to select the payload that is to be used. So for demonstration, the Win32 reverse Meterpreter payload will be used. So aside from that payload, it is also necessary to set variables that are required by the exploit and payload, such as the remote host, the remote port, which represent the target host, as well as the local host and local port, which are used by the payload when connecting back to the attacker. So the next thing that we would like to do is to go ahead and set payload. It will probably not work, the reason being that I have not yet loaded the module. Perfect. So as soon as I set payload, it's giving me the option that set the given option to value. If value is omitted, print the current value. So what it's saying me exactly is that after set payload, I need to go ahead and set an option and a value. So after we have set up some kind of payload, I'll just go ahead and type set payload, let's say Win32, and I'll just type underscore reverse underscore Meterpreter. Let's see if I'm able to go ahead and set this payload. Well, the payload is not valid, so let me check if it is in small. Okay, never mind. So this is how you go ahead and set up a payload. The reason being that Windows 32 exploit is not yet here. So that's how it will look like. After that, we have to go ahead and set the R host. And just let me be clear that the reason we are not getting any specified value for the payload is because this we haven't used any tester module as of now. If we had used any kind of specific module, only then we will be able to load the payload, because the payload is loaded after the tester. So if you go ahead and try to go ahead and load the payload value or the R host before using any specific module, then it won't work. So I will be going ahead and using that, but for later option, as of now I'm just giving you an idea exactly how it works. So after that, we have to set an R host, and that would be the remote host. That would be my own computer's IP address. So it would be 127.0, whatever your IP address would be. I'm just using a random IP address. And after that, once you go ahead and see this, you need to set the R port. That would be by typing R caps PORT, and then you have to 1 2 3 4 5 or 5 4, whatever your R port would be. And so when you have set the R port, then we need to go ahead and set the local host. So that means the computer which we are trying to attack. So it would be L host, and 127.0.0.2 whatever, and then okay, it should be L host. Perfect. And after that, okay, it should be L host. Perfect. After that, the final thing would be set L port, and we can set the L port to anything 1279, and this is how the L port is set. So finally, with the payload and exploit defined, it's time to fire up these engines, and with that, the Meterpreter connection is established and it's ready to be used. So the first order of business is to issue the help command to get a feel for what features are available. So all of these commands are explained in detail in my tutorials, and the most useful for the point of illustration is the use command. This command allows for dynamically loading Meterpreter extensions from anywhere. These extensions are automatically uploaded to the target machine and then loaded from the memory. For example, let's say one of the extension allows for executing and killing processes as well as getting a list of running processes. So this extension is the process extension which can be loaded by issuing the commands such as, let's say for example, use. You can type use -m. Only after the process is executed you can go and type use -m process. It won't work now because I have not yet executed the payload, but this is how it looks like. So, and after the extension has been loaded, the new command will be added to the help output. So for process extension, you can just go and type something like help, and it will give you everything. Over here you won't see any stuff like that. The reason being that I have not yet uploaded the module because I have not even yet started the payload, that's why. But once you have uploaded the module and executed the payload, you will see this process module over here included. But I believe that we already have a process named module over here named as PS. Okay. Okay, I cannot see it, but as soon as I go ahead and start any kind of remote access, then it will probably start. So that's how it looks like. So I'll just quickly go ahead and execute payload, or I'll just go ahead and start. I'll just type, let's say, use payload Windows, and I don't know exactly how it works. Let me check if O works. I believe it should be the capital O. That should work. Never mind, I'll just go ahead and start up my social engineering toolkit. That would be much more easy for me to go ahead and start up the payload. And I'll create a payload and listener, my IP address. Now this is my IP address. I'll just copy it and paste it over here. It would be 2, I believe. Every time I go ahead and use the backdoor executable, let's go ahead and check what Shikata Ganai does. So port would be 443, and by the time it is executed, let me go ahead and disable my firewall, because else it will go ahead and not allow me to copy it. Just for the time being, I'll disable this. I'll minimize this, and your payload is copied. So I'll just go ahead and start the directory. I typed yes, right? Yeah, perfect. So I'll just go ahead and into the where it is exactly, SET home directory. So I believe SET will be over in the root folder or USR. Okay, here we have the payload file. Just copy it and paste it over here. Oh, what is this exactly? Because just copy it, paste it over here perfectly, and I'll just copy it and paste it over here. So yep, that's how it looks like.